Hi, for Miss Clancy here again, and we are going to continue reading Beowulf and the Death Dragon of the Deep. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm on the wrong page, not a good start. Here we are. To the headland on the cliffs they came and saw at last the secret mound and narrow way in. Here Beowulf spoke to his trusted hearth companions. He meant with his words to lift their hearts, to exhort and encourage them, to banish their fear. There was no fear in the great hero, but the truth was that his own spirit was gloomy and heavy with premonition, as if he already knew that this was the place and the time of his last fight, that this dragon would be the end of him, his body and soul torn apart at last in the struggle that lay ahead. Strongly he spoke, though, banishing all those dark thoughts from his mind. Cherished comrades in arms, I have survived many struggles in my life, and I do not forget any of them, nor the brave war companions who died at my side. I have always had good fortune in these battles, wielding my bright, hard-edged sword again and again in service of first Hygelac my king in my early days, and as king myself now these long years since. Every battle I've ventured I've won, by God's good grace, and I shall win again today, old as I am. I am the stern guardian of my people, and must destroy this death dragon before he destroys us. I would go up against him barehanded and bareheaded, as I grappled once with that monster Grendel. But I must somehow defend myself against the fire of this flame spitter. So I will carry this iron shield off to fend the flames, and wear my mail shirt and helmet to protect my flesh from his fire venom. I shall stand strong in spirit, give all in this fight. I shall not run from this heathen horde guardian, however hot and fierce his flames. Wait here for me. This is my fight. It is for me, your king, to match myself against this champion of evil. I will dare all bravely. Should I win, God willing, then the horde dragon will die his death and harm us no more, and we shall win all the gold he guards. Should I fail, then your king will not see this nightfall, nor any other tomorrow, nor share the cup of mead with you ever again. This shall be my end, so be it. Strongly he spoke out, this champion of the Geats. Despite all his doubts, he was still confident in his prowess. Brave beside his shield he stood, in helmet and war shirt, ready now to meet the death dragon face to face. He would not shrink from the fight, this survivor of countless conflicts and battle clashes. Then, out of the mound came a sudden blast of flames. Waves of savage fire surged out of that deadly tunnel. So the dragon began to battle, breathing out his perilous fire. Without being burnt alive, there seemed no way in, no way past those terrible flames for Beowulf. In his anger now, the hero roared in defiance. Like the battle horn it sounded, echoing through the vaulted cavern. Deep inside, the hated dragon recognized the champion's voice challenge. Filled with fury, he stirred himself to violent action. Uncoiled now, the serpent roared out his thunderous response, a hissing gout of foul flame and billowing breath smoke. The ground shook. The rocks and the trees trembled as the death dragon emerged enraged from the mound, seeking out his foe. There stood Beowulf before him, bravest of warrior kings, his shield held before him, his trusted sword drawn. Each saw then the terrible power of the other, felt the same portent of impending doom, but neither would shirk the death encounter. Beowulf stood his ground as the all-enveloping flames rushed forward towards him, curling over and around him, enveloping him entirely in smoke and fire. Bravely he stood fast behind his great shield, knowing already that, huge though it was too small to protect him. Undaunted, the hero swung up his huge ancestral sword, ancient sword of all Geatish kings, and struck the dragon a savage, scything blow, cut through his foul flesh to the bare bone beneath. A death blow he meant to be, hoped it would be. But this time his good old sword failed to bite deeply enough. Wounded now, the dragon came on in his agony, spat his hellish fire over the great-hearted king, forced him back with his spewing flames. Beowulf felt the skin searing pain and knew that this time there would be no easy victory, that he had met his match at last. Then, as the death dragon raged and roared, rearing up to attack Beowulf again, those chosen few, those trusted comrades in arms, who should have rushed to his side in this moment of need, turned away and ran for the safety of the woods, saving their shameful skins, leaving their king to face the flame-belching monster all alone. Only Wiglaf, the youngest there, stood by his lord. He felt the bonds of kinship more keenly than others. He knew his duty, knew where his place was. He would not desert the king who had bestowed on him and his family so much kindness. Land he held, and a wealthy house and gold too, all given to him and his forebears by the most generous of all kings. He would stay and fight at Beowulf's side. Angrily he urged others to do the same, shouting after them, "How can you leave him now, when he needs us most, our dear Lord Beowulf? Did he not choose us himself to accompany him on this perilous adventure? Did we not all come here expecting a fight? Now, when we should be at his side, you run away like rabbits. As for me, I would far die here alongside him, feel with him the pain of death if I must, end my life fighting in the struggle, sword in hand, rather than desert him and return home shamed forever." But his words fell on deaf ears. Fear-filled, the cowards dropped their swords and ran for their lives. All courage withered, suddenly and gone, and all honour with it. Okay, we'll see how they respond to the next bit in another video. So I'll see you soon. Bye.